Hey guys, this is Brad. I'm here to narrate my first road race. I'm going to go over some of the mistakes I made and talk about some of the lessons learned. I hope this video helps some novice riders, maybe recreational riders that want to start racing, or maybe some new racers that are still figuring it out as well as I am. So, as we get started here in the race, I'm going to go over some of the preparations that I made and go over some of the conditions and some of my gear as well. And then when we get to the end of this first lap of this race, I'll talk about some of the mistakes I made, and then we'll go from there. So starting out, I can tell you that I prepared for this race for about 14 weeks. I started training on an indoor trainer. I used the Kurt Kinetic road machine. I started with the Trainer Road. Trainer Road is an app, so I started with their base program, which helps your aerobic capacity. Then I moved on to their build program and increased my muscular strength. I found it very helpful. I found that I was making huge improvements. You could visually see my body's adaptation, and then I could tell my riding was stronger and better, and I just felt more capable. So I can't give too much credit to anybody other than Trainer Rhodes. I really appreciate them. As you can see here, the environment outside, rainy. It was about 55 degrees. This is about my breaking point when it comes to temperature. I don't really have gear that helps me go below 55 degrees. I wore Castelli leg warmers. I also wore Under Armour under my cycling jersey. The only regret with regard to my gear was I wish I had some waterproof like booties that go over my cycling shoes. I'm not really sure what those are called, shoe covers, but my shoes got absolutely soaking wet. And at about the first lap, they were soaked, and I had to endure that for 5 more laps. So, with that said, I'll let you know how I prepared for this mentally. I kind of set some easy goals. I just really wanted to finish. That was goal number one. I felt like that'd be achievable. Goal number two, I wanted to stick with the pack. I wanted to find out the level of my fitness, how good I was, and if I could hang with other racing groups. So I just hoped to learn as much as I could. I wanted to be as humble as possible, and I just wanted to, ride a good ride and keep my bike upright and not get in the way of anybody else. So I was very happy when I finally got to the race and I had purchased new tires. I put them on first of all, my bike is a Roubaix, Specialized Roubaix. It's a 2013, so it was new to me, but slightly used, which was great. I used the Ultegra components. I had a compact chain set. Really helped smaller gearing up these bigger hills here. I really recommend a compact opposed to a mid. If you're starting out, I think a lot of people that are even pros still ride compacts. So make sure your bikes are geared right, make sure your tires are equipped right. I ended up using the Continental GP 4000 S2s. It is a 25 millimeter. I hear that wider is slightly better, gives you a better contact patch, and helps you from bouncing around. I let out just a little bit of air starting this race, maybe 5 psi. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't bouncing around in the wet any more than I had to. So I felt that the GP 4000s were good. I felt like a lot of people were using them, and they were a solid tire, a solid choice. And I was glad I put new tires, new tubes, had good equipment touching the ground, and made me confident, made me mentally prepared as well. So I guess I'll get into maybe a little bit of the tactics that I was thinking right here. As you can see, my heart rate was getting up in the 180s. Now, with Trainer Road, they kind of focus on power, virtual power, which is based off the resistance of your trainer. So I didn't really focus too much on heart rate, but I knew that 186 and above, even about 170 and above, was not sustainable for myself. So when I got to this point, obviously I was feeling tired, but visually I could see my heart rate was too high. So I kind of knew I had to do something. I couldn't keep just blindly spending energy. So, I tried to tuck in a little closer to these guys. I realized that if I could stay maybe slightly to the right, slightly to the left of their tire, that I'd be able to conserve a little bit of energy and stay out of the water that their rear wheel was kicking up. Um, while I was doing that, I was also kind of thinking I need to save some margin for error. In the wet, you kind of slow down mentally and you kind of tense up with your handling. So that was a mental battle I was kind of facing. As you can see, some of these descents were a little slow. I feel like the pack was still getting warmed up at this point. But as you can see, the rain started coming down a little harder. So the rear wheels started kicking up more water, and I wish I had some cycling specific glasses for overcast days. Some sunglasses, if you have interchangeable lenses, they'll have a yellow. Yellow tint typically works pretty well in an overcast situation. But seeing as I need a prescription, I was not able to get that for this day. So maybe that'll be something I look into in the future. So, being that we're going to start the first couple of these descents, I realized how important it was to continue pedaling on the downhill. A lot of these guys carry more speed, more mass. A lighter rider, about 140, realized that I need to keep pedaling, but it's kind of daunting in the water, in the wet, and some of these hills coming up here you'll see are pretty daunting as well. So some of the things I learned being a motorcyclist, if you have a road that has these patches of black, they look like black snakes, we call them. They're road repairs. Um, they've been said to be a little more slick than normal, so I was trying to stay away from these, stay off the edge on the right side. I realized this road was sloping, so I didn't want to get further to the right than this rider in front of me. I was hoping to stay in this pack. I realized that my heart rate had kind of come down a little bit. My breathing was a little softer. So at this point, I was kind of hoping that I could stay with these guys. I wasn't quite sure what was coming up ahead. I hadn't ridden the course yet. I really strongly recommend that if you're going to go somewhere for the first time, you can figure out, either through YouTube, you watch the videos, figure out where the course is, you figure out how steep it is, or you go the night before, you drive it, ride it the morning of, backwards, whatever the case may be. Make sure you know what you're dealing with. I definitely did not, because I didn't know how to maybe space out my energy, or definitely didn't know what was ahead, and I could only really gauge by some of these riders and the gaps that their shoulders held. So as we got through these first two turns here, this is where things get a little interesting. So mistake number one was, first of all, not pedaling through this turn. I definitely should have kept pedaling, and I was slowing down a lot more than some of these riders were, and then everyone just took off. So being already tired, this was very challenging. So I thought maybe I was chasing the wrong people. As you can see, here's 433. Realizing that I was tired, maybe I should have just stuck behind this rider on the left. Um, some of these riders, um, actually, some of them have the same kit, so I think one of his teammates passes me a little later. But um, I wish I had conserved energy. Uh, I wish I had shifted up, accelerated on these downhills more, because I know a lot of people were really enjoying having gravity on their side. So here's some of the riders that I wish I had kind of just stayed with. Um, yes, 452 was the rider I was thinking of. If I had maybe held a consistent pace like these guys, maybe I would have not been up in the 190s for heart rate right now. So knowing that I was kind of blown up, I was trying to spin lightly. As you can see, I quickly ducked in behind this junior rider here. Kudos to him; he was in great shape for his age. Um, this is maybe my second biggest mistake. I had a good draft right here, and I really, really should have held it, and I don't know why I got out of his slipstream. If I could have recovered maybe a couple more minutes, stayed behind him, I think things would have been a lot easier for me. But so keep that in mind. If you think you're doing good in somebody's slipstream, just make sure that you hold it for a little bit. Make sure you are good before you verge out and try to take over. I had no idea how steep these hills were, so this was maybe hill number 1. I wasn't really used to. So back to mistake number 1. I wasn't pedaling there. As you can see, my RPM was all the way down. And I think I was trying to coast, maybe conserve energy, but in reality, it'll give you a couple minutes, even just a couple seconds of rest. But when you hit this uphill, it's gonna punish you again, and that's just common sense. So when you're racing, just remember to, conserve energy, use common sense. If you conserve your momentum, you won't have to battle those hills. So here's another group of riders that I think I legitimately thought I could stick behind, but this hill was extremely daunting, and I was not going to try and chase them. I didn't know the bumps in the roads. I didn't know how well my tires were going to hold. It wasn't until after, I rode this circuit a couple times that I really felt confident to pedal down that hill. So once again, here I am, middle of the hill, no speed, and I'm losing speed, but I'm still pedaling as quick as I can. So it was really tough. So as we crest this hill, I'm just finally realizing that, man, I really need to do some more base training. So that base training, which builds your aerobic capacity, it's going to help you all season long. And I just, only laid down about 6 weeks of base, and it shows here that it's not enough. If I improve my overall strength, it'd help me on these hills, wouldn't tire me out as much. But overall, yeah, I really felt like my aerobic capacity was the limiting factor. I felt like my legs were strong, but definitely got winded very quickly. So maybe I thought here, I was also tired again. A little startled by that car, but picked up the pedaling as early as I could. I thought maybe I could catch this rider down at the end, and from this point, I was starting to realize I'll be on my own. There's about 5 or 6 laps in this race, so I was kind of laughing at myself. But despite being dropped, realizing you're dropped, realizing you're soaking wet, and you're working harder than you've ever worked, I was still having a ton of fun. And I can't stress that enough. When you're racing, just make sure you're racing for the right reasons. Make sure it's fun, and make sure you're not punishing yourself for no reason. Speaking of punishing, this little hill right at the finish line was the toughest, steepest little hill I've ever encountered. And as you can see, I only hit 10 miles an hour as I crest the top. And I was really happy the USA Cycling official called out my name. Hey, hang in there, Brad. And, you know, everyone working here they're really good people and just really helped me keep going. So that was a nice little boost. As you guys realize, that was one lap. That's about all I got in store for you guys. The rest of it is just me pedaling on my own. Once again, takeaway lessons: bring the right gear, stay dry, bring your fitness, bring the right level of fitness, and you'll have a ton more fun. Number 3, be efficient with your pedaling. Don't ever stop pedaling. And number 4, just always have fun and be humble as a second point there. Make sure you learn from others, help others. Shortly after this video ended, I made sure to pull over, help a guy with a flat. That's how you make friends, and that's how you make this experience more fun for everybody. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this little video. Hope maybe some of the newer people learned something, but get out there, race, and have the time of your life. Thanks for listening.